Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Brand Momentum Morning Show. I am Faith James, your host, and today we are going to be continuing our really important decisions to break through resistance. So let me say good morning to the people. Good morning, Amber. Good morning, feeling fabulous. And yes, my love, I am as well. Good morning, Bonita. I'll talk to you about that later. Good morning, Onika. How are you, my love? I am so grateful that you're here. Reaction to the words kill and destroy in this times. Bonita, I hear you completely. And so take it for what it is and release what doesn't serve you. So we are going to be reading about resistance and victimhood. So for those of you who are new to the show, the only mission we have here is to inspire into action. And so if you are so inclined, I would be most grateful if you would share this video right now or start a watch party right now, because there's so many people who are in a place of permanent stuckness, right? If we want to call it that. Permanent rigidity, not moving. And one thing that, my amazing mentor, David, always says is, if you're not growing, you're dying. And sometimes these words might be, sort of triggering and you hear it, but we have to just face the facts. The truth is the truth, right? And we just have to be really ready to just rip the Band-Aid off. Every day is not going to be, sunshine and butterfly. Sometimes we have to really just say, put your foot down and say, enough is enough. And sometimes that comes from an intervention, right? Interventions aren't always cute, but they're required and they're necessary. So here we go. Resistance and Victimhood from the book, The War of Art, Steven Pressfield. Doctors estimate that 70 to 80% of their business is non-health related. People aren't sick. They're self-dramatizing. Sometimes the hardest part of a medical job is keeping a straight face. As Jerry Seinfeld observed of his 20 years of dating, there's a lot of acting fascinated. The acquisition of a condition lends significance to one's existence. An illness, a cross to bear. Some people go from condition to condition. The condition becomes a work of art in itself, a shadow version of the real creative act the victim is avoiding by expending so much care cultivating his condition. A victim act is a form of passive aggression. It seeks to achieve gratification not by honest work or a contribution made out of one's experience or insights or love, but by the manipulation of others through silent and not so silent threat. The victim compels others to come to his rescue or to behave as he wishes by holding them hostage to the prospect of his own further illness, meltdown, mental dissolution, or simply by threatening to make their lives so miserable that they do what he wants. Is that you? Do you know anyone like that? I know I do. And what I want to illuminate from that reading is this idea that rather than take that energy and do the work, the good work that's here, that's been gifted to you, that you've been anointed to do, resistance shows up and we manifest that in a different way. So it's always one trauma after the next drama after the next trauma. And people sit and they luxuriate in their stories. They sit and they luxuriate in their conditions rather than see it for what it is. So getting out of your story is, we don't even have time in this episode to really dig into that, but suffice it to say, good morning, Dor, that when you keep telling the story of whatever thing it was that happened to you, and this is not even a commentary on whether it was deserved or not, whether it was fear or not, whether it was right, it doesn't matter. Remember what I said yesterday in yesterday's show, that your brain wants no mitigating circumstances explained to it. All it's looking for is, you said you were going to do this thing, was this thing done? Period, done, end of story, right? We want to tell our stories to seek justification for why we're not in our path. We want to keep telling the stories as the excuse for why we're not further along on our journey. That's what he means when he's talking about holding people hostage with the story, because there you are now saying, oh my gosh, this thing happened to me. This thing happened to me when? This thing happened to me 5 months ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and we're still telling the story as if it just happened. And I want you to hear me say, Amber, thank you for sharing that. Definitely deep subject. And I'm telling you, I don't know what I'm going to read when I get here. This whole show is like, God is the executive producer of the Brand Momentum Morning Show. Let me just say that. I don't prep for it. I don't do anything. I just come. I literally left my mastermind and got on here. There is no prep. God is producing the show. So if this is for you, know that God is always on time. The stories we use, and again, it's not about right or wrong or deserving or anything, but when we still persist in telling the story, we're using it as a crutch, as an excuse for why we haven't opened our boutique, why we haven't done our gallery opening, why we haven't started our nonprofit, why we haven't launched a new venture, why we haven't written that book, why we haven't called that person back who's wanting to do a collaboration with us. I need you to see that resistance. Remember, I said it's cunning. It presents in all forms. It's the chameleon and it's the amoeba, right? Takes on any color, has no rigid form. It can just bend and bob and weave and suit whatever it needs. And the minute we continue to allow that story to be the reason why we are not doing the thing we are doing, is the reason we have given over all power and all control to resistance. So Mark Wahlberg, you guys know him, Marky Mark. Gosh, I'm gonna forget the name of this movie, but it's a story. I think it's a true story of the U.S. conflict in Afghanistan. It's about these 4 soldiers, and they were there just in this dogfight trying to basically survive, and they came up on this little Afghani boy, and they were, in deep reconnaissance. And I think 1 or 2 of them wanted to kill him. Say, because if we let him go, he's gonna let all of the Taliban know we're up here, and then we for sure are dead. And then the lead for the group, he was like, no, we don't kill children, and we're gonna cut him loose. And that's what was done. So of course, so said, so done. They cut the little Afghani boy loose. He ran and he alerted all the Taliban. I mean, it was just imagine an army of ants at a picnic table where you've left peanut butter or jelly or something on the table, and here come all the ants. That's what it was. And one of the soldiers was shot. And literally in the moment, right? Again, this is the movie, but I'm just using this for the analogy. In the moment when he was shot, he said to his captain, Mark Wahlberg, he's like, oh my God, I've been shot, or he said, I've been hit. And you know what Mark Wahlberg's response to him was? Who can tell me? Just take a guess. I don't expect everybody to even know this movie that I'm talking about. But what do you think he said? So he's a captain of their group, and one of his men just took on gunfire and was shot, and he's like, oh my God, I've been shot. What do you think the captain's response to him was? Anybody, throw some stuff out. Let's have a little fun this morning. Get the brain thinking, get the blood going. Anybody? And no guesses? Are you guys playing along? If you're not, let me know, because I won't wait. But I do want you to catch what the moral of the story is. Does anybody know? Give a guess. What do you think the captain said to him? Good answer, Dora. He said, shoot back. Amber says she watched it, but I don't remember the response. Okay. This is actually one of my most favorite lines from the movie. He says, you are living in the past. You're living in the past. The man literally just got shot 3 seconds ago. And the response was, you're living in the past. So think about that and apply that to your situation, your scenario. Are you living in the past? I'm going to be a speaker on a life story summit that's coming up. And one of the things I'm going to be talking about is how to use your story to infuse in your brand. And one of the things that's really important is that you can recount, but you can't let it define you. You can recount the story for the purpose of illustrating your quantum leap, your quantum shift, that it became a decision point for you, how you used it. But we cannot live in the past. Yes, you're living in the past when you play victim. Absolutely. I'm so glad you're receiving that, Amber, because this is what we do. So I didn't get this thing done because this person did this thing to me 10 years ago. So here's the difference. Hi, everyone. My name is Faith, blah, blah, and I'm telling my story. This isn't my first time with this dream. 10 years ago, I had decided I was going to do blah, blah, blah. And I decided I was going to collaborate with so-and-so. And this is what happened. And rather than let it stop me for those long times, I did this, or I let it stop me for 10 years. And then I had my epiphany moment and blah, blah, blah. And so now I use that as a reminder to keep going. So you see the difference, how you can use the story to illuminate, to illustrate a point in your life when you said no more, or share, yes, I let it defeat me for these number of years, but we know the famous Japanese proverb that says, fall down 7 times, get up 8. And you can tell your story through that way. But please do your level best to decide today, resistance no longer is going to come and in cloak and dagger look like your story, and that you think you're getting some sort of justification, you're getting some sort of rationalization for your lack of movement, that you're using it as a cloak for why you're not at peak potential, peak performance, when God himself tells you, you are his masterpiece. You, my love, everyone within the sound of my voice, God says you were created just below the angels. So if the angel is here, let's say you're down here. Do we know that the angels have infinite, brilliant, awesome, awe-inspiring power? Do you understand that about angels? Who's in the army of God? That would be the angels. So they have to be bad to the bone to be in God's army. And if you're created just below the angels, my love, you have power within you. So we must not let these stories turn into our victim coat that we wear with style and panache everywhere we go. Let me tell you this story, what happened to me 50 years ago. And this is the reason why no, it's not acceptable. Stop living in the past. There is a reason why your front driver's mirror, so think about your car, why the front windshield is larger than the rear view window. It's not an accident. It wasn't a mishap. It is by design. You must face forward. Look back only just to check, make sure there's no vehicles coming in your blind spot. And yes, go ahead and change lanes. But you cannot have your neck craned behind you looking while driving. You will crash and roll into a ditch. So let's not live in the past. We remember, we recall, we use, but we don't let it be the reason we let resistance win, because resistance is showing up as a story that says, oh, well, of course. Well, gosh, girl, no wonder. You know, one of the things I use, and again, remember, guys, if any of you want to be a guest on the show, just go ahead and just let me know. And I'm going to be having my team reach out to those who fill out the form to get your time booked and scheduled, because this is one of the things I want to talk about, or to hear what are people using as strategies to kind of help them keep, you know, forward momentum, to keep them looking through the front windshield as opposed to the rear view mirror. So I always love to use, there's starving children in Africa. I mean, truth be told, there's starving children everywhere. But I would use that in the sense of be grateful for what you have. Oh my gosh, I'm so frustrated. I have to do this sales sequence, and it's taking me so long, and oh my gosh, the tech, and I have to hire somebody to do my funnel, and I still haven't got my webinar funnel done, while I'm waxing and waning and bemoaning in my beautifully designed, decored, air-conditioned office. There's starving children in Africa. So I use that to propel myself. The minute you start to feel like you're getting into victim, you're getting into resistance, I don't have a full team, it's just, you have the privilege of complaining, Faith, that you need to hire a team. There are people living in thatched huts down on La Cienega in California, in these great United States of America. Gather yourself, pull yourself together, keep your mouth closed, and keep moving. This is why when God told the children of Israel, we're going to go take Jericho, but I'm going to give you the very specific instructions. You're going to go around, march around 7 times. But what was the instruction that God gave them? In addition to let the musicians go ahead, and then everybody else, you're going to just walk around 7 times. Does anybody know what else was in that that instruction from God? He said, and this is so key, as you're walking around, so everybody's clear on the instructions, reading is fundamental. The instructions for the march around Jericho says what? 7, if I can get my fingers right, 7 times. Check, yes, check your understanding. Yes, God, we understand. We're going to walk around Jericho 7 times. The next very specific and non-negotiable instruction was keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut. Now, why in the world would that even matter? Why in the world would God say, don't say a word? He didn't say, okay, you can talk about this. He's talk about nothing. Why? Because, hear me, your words have power. Your words have infinite power. The words that come out of your mouth have power. Can somebody hashtag your words have power? And so because God knew them for who they were, right? Always complaining, always whining, always in the story. You know, when we were in Egypt, we had fish, we had quail, we had all this kind of thing. And oh my gosh, now we're in this desert and all we have is just this bread thing, which I don't know where that even came from. Like, does anybody even know how to make it? And you know what? We want some meat. So God knows them because they've shown themselves. The words have power. So when you start to complain, when you start to say, I haven't started my art business because I was victimized by this person. I didn't do my book because this person stole my idea. When you say those things, you're giving power to that scenario. And as I said to you before, universal law says attraction will come, magnetization will happen. Whether you understand that or not to be true does not make it any less true. It is universal law. Think about when God said, in the beginning, there was light. Did you hear what I just said? These are the operative words. In the beginning, so this is Genesis 3. Well, let me start from 1. In the beginning, God created the sky and the earth. The earth was empty and had no form. Darkness covered the ocean and God's spirit was moving over the water, right? So just a little backstory, setting the scene for you. Genesis 3. Then God said, let there be light. I want you to, it's a simple thing, but it's the most powerful thing I'm going to give you today. God said, he didn't just think it, he said it. When God said, let there be light, the light came flooding in. Universal law, can't be any other way. So when you open your mouth to speak, know that your words have power. This is why when I said to you in yesterday's episode, don't make God a promise and don't keep it, because that's the worst thing you can do, because your words have power. If you say you're going to do something, do it. If you say that it's problematic for you, but hear the power, hear the instructions, and God said, and the thing that he said happened. So back to Jericho. If they were allowed to speak, and we know the minute they speak, here come the story. Oh my gosh, my feet hurt. Like this desert sun, it's like 150 degrees. I need some water. Like who's got like some energy drink? I'm tired. I'm hungry. This is just a waste of time. Like, why are we even walking around 7 times? Like who even understands this strategy? Like it makes totally no sense. He knew that if they were allowed to speak, they would be talking all kinds of mess. And all of their drama, victimhood stuff, going to cancel out the miracle and the magic that's about to happen. So he said, keep your mouth quiet. Stop living in the past. Understand what happened. Somebody stole your money. Somebody, said a bad thing about you, talked about you in the streets. You can observe it, look for the lessons that you need to get from that, because in everything that happens to us, there's learning. So we have to first go, you know what? and this is some higher order stuff, and I'm not going to get into it today, but you should be finding the gratitude for everything that happens to you, right? In Thessalonians, it says, in all circumstances, give thanksgiving and praise. It doesn't say only when the good things happen. In all circumstances. So even when what we perceive as bad, this is the work to do. This is the ultimate, Amber, you'll get this from Karen's program last night, right? Getting to enlightenment. That I am grateful that this thing happened to me. So I'll tell you a story. So when I was in corporate advertising, I was in Minneapolis for a number of years, and I was the chief strategy officer for an advertising agency, making all kind of crazy money, just living la joie de vivre, you know, traveling to Vegas, buying first class tickets, buying Celine Dion concerts, $1,000 a pop. Listen. And then 2008 and the recession. And then it was like, holy Hannah, Faith, we love you a long time, but we're gonna have to let you go. And I could have been stuck in that story of, I can't believe it. I give my life, blood, sweat, and tears. Why didn't they like cut expenses and keep me? Like I would work all weekend for them. I would. You know what I did? That very day when I was laid off, once I got to my computer, immediately I started updating my resume. Because I refused to live in the past. If I sat there and just kept talking about, I can't believe it, you know, I've been doing such great work, I brought in this many new business, they should for sure find a way to keep me living in the past. We got to keep moving forward. And why I'm telling you to find the gratitude, you may not be able to see it in the moment, but if you just have a posture that I know there's some good in this for me to see, no matter how horrible the situation, and my intention is to find it, because where am I now? Where am I now? I am in my truth, I'm in my light, I'm in my purpose, I'm in my passion, I'm in my power, doing what I do, being the CEO of me, CEO of Personal Branding Consultancy, creator of the Brand Accelerator online course, host of the Brand Momentum Morning Show, like all of the things that I do. If I had not been laid off in 2008, it would not have put me on this journey to my promised land. And I want you to understand that it's the same thing I need for you. To be willing and ready to have an intention to work up to, I will find the good in all circumstances. In all circumstances, I will give praise and thanksgiving. Because then that'll help you to move through resistance. Because when something negative happens to me, I'm like, you know what? This is good. There's a lesson in this for me to learn. I was talking to a mindfulness coach, this was a number of years ago, and helping her get ready for a program she was giving to, I know, thousands of financial advisors. And one of the things in her program that she was talking about is why mindfulness is so good and why the gratitude for everything is really important. So if you go to work, wherever you go and you drive, and you got a parking ticket because you parked in the wrong place, and it was like a $250 parking ticket. You know, as opposed to start complaining about the city and how they're tax gouging and and what you need to be focusing on is God giving you a heads up saying, hey, I need you to pay attention to this. You're always rushing late. So you end up parking in the wrong place because you got to get into work. You don't want to get docked. I need you to like wake up a little bit earlier, get yourself sorted, gather yourself up, get to work within enough time, find a legal appropriate parking spot, because I need you to be more aware and alert when you're on the road, when you're driving. Be more aware and alert of your surroundings. Oh, you're saying, oh, I didn't see that sign said no parking. But if you had more time and you were not rushing around. So the lesson there is, okay, I need to woosah. I need to calm down. I need to get up a little bit earlier and be aware of my surroundings, because this is a lesson that says there may be something else coming down the road next week, next month, where it's going to be imperative that you are alert, aware, around, cognizant of what's going on around you, because it's going to be more critical and potentially more devastating than just a parking ticket. So the parking ticket, you should give thanks for that, because it gave you an opportunity to go, oh, I better snap out of this. I'm just mindlessly walking around, dropping my car anywhere. I better take a little bit more time. I'm hoping, guys, this is landing for you, because I know this is super deep this morning, but we've got to get about the business of the work. Stop living in the past. Victimization is just resistance cloaked in a new dress. There's starving children in Africa. There are people living in tents down in La Cienega, down in Tent City in Los Angeles, California, one of the wealthiest zip codes in these great United States. We have a tent city. Let that be the counter reflection to you anytime you want to get into telling a story of why this and why that. Glory to God, you have a roof over your head. You're not living between two cardboard boxes. Let's pull ourselves together, because we just sit and stew. You know, this is something that I want you to hear me say. When we tell stories, most times we're not telling it in the construct of using it as a teaching tool for somebody else to say, here's what I did when I was sick. Like I just told you about the story when I got laid off. The people around me were like dumbfounded. They were like, even though the guy I was dating at the time, he couldn't believe, he was like, I don't understand how you're not curled up in a fetal position right now. My carrying costs, oh, by the way, people, let me share full transparency. My house in Minneapolis was a 5,000 square foot pool on a lake, 3-car garage. It was la joie de vie. That house cost me $7,000 plus a month to carry. Forget about food and anything else that I needed to do. The house, the carrying costs for the house, the mortgage, the pool care, the insurance, it's $7,000. So he knew, right? He knew my situation. So this is why he was saying, I don't understand how you're not in a fetal position right now. You just like lost your big job and you got this like big ass house that you know is going to be like the noose around my neck, no pun intended. And he couldn't understand why I wasn't like curled up crying and sobbing and complaining and talking. Because guess what, right? Like Mark Wahlberg in the movie said to his soldier, you're living in the past. You're living in the past. You got shot. You're living in the past. Stop living in the past. Don't let the stories define you. Good morning, Sharon. Thank you so much for being here. Yes, we must be around of our surroundings. Yeah, so many really critical things happen when we get into a state of mindfulness, and we'll get into it in another show. But I want you to hear me loud and clear. Resistance is coming in all forms. It's coming in distractions. It's coming in, your bestie, good time Tina, who's like, girl, let's go Kiki, down at the breakers. It's going to show up in all different forms. We must stay alert. We must be on watch. We must be like a sentry. You guys know what a sentry is in military term? They guard the perimeter. No sleep till the next person comes and relieves. They stand guard. They stand watch. We must be like that, on the lookout for resistance and the crew that they're bringing along to come and prevent you from creating the art of your soul in this world. That's why the book is called The War of Art. And art doesn't just mean art. It's like anything. It could be your book. It could be your show. It could be your course. It could be your retreat. It could be anything. Anything that you are creating as the creator, that's a piece of art, right? So hear it in that context. We have to know that resistance is presenting in so many different places, and don't get confused and think we're going to tell the stories and get justification for why we're not in our path and our purpose. There's starving children in Africa. There are people living in tent city in LA. I was on the Corona TV show. Shout out to Joseph Jaffe, who's the host of the show. And my segment that I put forth for discussion was this idea of gratitude, and that, People standing around in Whole Foods complaining that the butcher is taking too long and that the prime rib was cut too thick and all. And when people in this country waiting for hours to get a free turkey and some sides to put a Thanksgiving dinner on their table. Meanwhile, we're like complaining the prime rib was cut too thick. I'm just keeping it 100 because if you know anything about me, this is the truth of who I am. I will stand in my truth. And the truth is, there are other people who have circumstances that if you were presented with them, you would probably think like, oh, there's no way in the world. Like, I forget the name of the author now, but she's a woman from Africa, and she had, I think, 3 or 4 children. She ended up leaving Africa. They came to the States, and like little to no money. I mean, just living on the edge. And she went to the supermarket manager and said, can you let me know when you get rid of the produce, but after a certain date, they can't sell it and they toss it because, just from a legality standpoint, they don't want to give it to anybody and somebody gets food poisoning and now they're sued. So supermarkets on the whole, they toss the food when it goes bad. And she spoke to the manager and said, can you let me know what day of the week you toss the fruits and the vegetables? I'm just like going to get so emotional. She took a bus to come and get rotten fruits and vegetables to feed her children. This woman today has a PhD from Africa. The same woman who took a bus. Think about that, guys. We like the apple barely looks like it's, kind of soft. We're like tossing it. And she's like hurrying on a bus, trying to get a bus before the date, the time, so she doesn't miss her opportunity to get the rotten, spoiled fruits and vegetables to feed her children. She could have been living in her past. Resistance, my God, if anybody deserved a hall pass to hang out with some resistance, it would be her. Yes. But where there is a will, there is a way. And so, what is your will to bring your art to the world? And remember what I said, your art doesn't just mean paintings or sculptures. It means anything that you are creating that is going to be for the greater good of humanity. Do you have the will to see it done? It's so important. Thank you, Sharon. It's so important. We got to get out of living in the past. We got to stop telling those stories and using them as reasons and justifications why we're not stepping into God's plan for our life. There's starving children in Africa. There are people living in tent city in LA. And there was a woman from Africa who came to this country and fed her children spoiled, rotten fruits and vegetable, who now has a PhD. To God be the glory. So my lovelies, I hope that served you well today. And as I said, God is the executive producer of this show. I wasn't even planning on bringing that story up. And I just let the message take me where the message takes me. So I hope it landed for you. I hope you're going to find a way to take one step today of something that you've had on your list that you need to get done. And remember what I said, and I think Amber said it one of the last episodes, if it's just doing some research, on the thing, I'm not even saying physically start doing anything, but if you at least start some research, go read an article on something, right? So let's say you wanted to start your nonprofit, but you let the overwhelm of, oh my gosh, I hear people talking about this 501c3. I don't know what that means. You got to do this. You got a board of directors. And that's resistance saying, oh girl, way too much stuff to do. Don't even think nonprofit. Oh, please, honey, that field is so crowded. We don't need another nonprofit. You're good. That's too much work. Don't even. So bust through today and go click. Who do I say is your bestie? Google. Google and YouTube are your besties. Go pull up an article, go pull up a video of somebody talking about how to create a 501c3. What are the steps involved? Even if you did nothing more, just the physical act, we might say getting through resistance about shifting your body, shifting your energy. So rather than sitting in, oh, I can't, it's too much, it's overwhelming, shift your body, go, you know what? I'm just gonna go Google how to start a nonprofit. And I'm gonna read the first article, and then I'm gonna shut the computer down and I'm done for the day. If you did that for whatever the thing is that you're having resistance in, I celebrate you. I celebrate you. My grandmother in Cuba would make marmalade out of watermelon rind because of insufficient rations in socialist Cuba. Where there's a will, there's a way. So I'm going to wrap us. I will see you guys again tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern. We go Monday through Friday. Remember, the mission for this show is to inspire into action. And if you have been inspired today, if you've been inspired to take even the smallest action, I want to hear about it. So please come back and let me know. Let me know what you've done. Yes, it can be, but this is where we're shifting. We're going to say, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Joel 3:10, let the weak say they're strong. Okay? When God said, you see those dried up dead bones? Look again. What do you see? All coming into life, into fullness, into the army that gave them the win and the glory. So you just want to begin. I had a client yesterday, we were in session, and tech isn't always a fun topic for her. And I was kind of giving her some examples of things that she should do. She's like, oh, well, do you think we should just wait until February? I said, absolutely not. Because you know what that was? Who was that? That was resistance. Oh, did she say you have to do Facebook and Instagram? Oh no, honey, that's too much right there. You're asking for too much now, Faith. Just tell her we'll do it. We'll do it next month. Because isn't that what procrastination resistance cousin says? It's not like you're never ever going to do your dual live stream and get your message out to the people of inspiration and hope that they need right now. You're just going to do it next month. And that's the con, and we listen to it, we go, oh, okay, next month. And then you know what happens when next month comes? Next month comes and nothing happens. So begin. If the thing you have to just do is type in the Google the topic that you are thinking about and read the first article that pops up. Don't even go like, oh, I have to go see which one makes sense. I want to help you break through. It doesn't even matter. Pick the first article and read it. So come back. Lisa, good morning. Yes. One step forward. And we're not even judging if it's like a big, huge step or a little teeny tiny step. My favorite thing is never despise small beginnings. If all you can do is read one little article, watch one quick video, and that's all you did on this particular thing that you've been resisting, it's good. You've made forward progress. Thank you, Amber. So guys, go out today and be awesome. Remember, you are God's masterpiece. He says you were created just below the angels. The angels have infinite power. So if the angels are here and you are here, the whole world is out there for you to go shine. You just have to know that you have it within you. And we just have to show resistance. Who's alpha? Who's the omega? Take action. I love you guys so much. Be well. Let me know if you want to be a guest on the show. I will post a link to the form that you just two quick little questions. And because I want to hear what other people are doing as well. And again, you know, we can get inspiration from so many different people, so many different industries, different walks of life. We just all need to keep each other encouraged. So with that, I'm going to say adieu, farewell, bon voyage, and I will see you in the next episode tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern. Bye for now.